see. All right. It is now time for us to discuss our movie of the week. Mamoa Conan.
Black is like the brightest day. Where are the heroes? Soon as they get here, everything will be alright. I need a hero. Someone superhuman who can come and save my life. Crisis after crisis.
Oh my lord.
Conan the Barbarian. An hour and 53 minutes.
Of my time.
It's only from 2011, people. Come on. We got Jason Mamoa, Rose McGowan, Ron Perlman. You know, young Conan played by young Leo Howard. I mean, we got everything in there.
Yeah.
Let me just come out the box and say this movie is not great. And
Correct.
I had to watch Conan the Destroyer after watching this movie so I could get it out of my head. Get it out of there.
I went into this movie open-minded because I always try to, especially when we're watching them to review, right? And like I said before we started, the opening's great.
The opening is great. I love the opening.
Let's see where this is going. And then my biggest problem with this movie, and my wife watched the second half with me because I was watching and she came back from doing something. She's like, sat down, is it's wildly inconsistent. The rules they set for themselves, they don't necessarily follow through the whole thing. There's sword chops where there's blood flying everywhere. Then there's sword chops that just knock you to the ground. Explain that to me.
Manny the Hobgoblin Collector says, to quote Nicolas Cage from Wicker Man, my eyes! I'll let you continue. Go ahead if you want to.
I mean,
go ahead, Cliff.
What else? Yeah, go ahead, Cliff. I know you. I don't know how you feel about it. Like, I wanted to like it, and there are some things in it that are decent, but it's so just, I don't know. It doesn't know what it wants to do half the time.
It felt generic to me. Like, there's no real like standout. Like, it's Conan. This is like, the big barbarian. Like, and there's no standout like fight or action scene anywhere in the movie. There's not even like any really good like monsters he fights in it.
Even the big fight at the end is not that great.
Yeah, and it's just it felt, I don't know, maybe stale. So like very generic. Like it was almost a very generic fantasy movie.
I thought as soon as Momoa came on the screen that it just wasn't Conan for me. I was like, because when you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's gonna get mad because I'm going back to the prototype. But he's like half the size of Arnold. He's not like Arnold got cut. You know what I mean? Like he was cut. Momoa looked like
Mr. Olympia going into that movie, so you can't.
But he needed to get more cut than that, man. He needed to get more cut than that. It looked like he just took off his regular clothes, threw on the outfit, and said, "Okay, I'm Conan."
I don't think I don't know if I fully agree with that. Cut. I think he should have been a little bit bigger than he was. He looked more like the Conan from the comics as opposed to the original movie.
Which is the part that I thought was cool.
Right. So
I don't know.
He changes his kilt like 6 times in that movie too. I'm like, how many kilts does this guy have? He's supposed to be the marauder going across the country, just feeding wherever he can find food. But he's got wardrobe changes? No.
I mean, Conan was known for that though, with like toys and all this other stuff, having different outfits.
Yeah, but he's basically wearing a kilt and no shirt, which I'm fine with. But he's got a red one. He's got a brown one. Then he's got like a orangey one. Then he's got this other like tan one. I'm like, when do you have time to change when you're chasing after people and riding a horse and all, whatever. I know it's stupid, but that definitely took me out of it. I thought Rose McGowan was probably the best character in the whole movie, and even she didn't have enough to do.
No, that's true. I enjoyed her, and she did not have enough to do.
I can agree with that. Cliff, why do you enjoy this movie? Please let us know.
Explain to me the mask.
I don't have the investments and the attachments that you do. You know, I didn't even enjoy the Conan movies when I was a kid.
Blasphemy.
Like,
Wow.
I think I like them. I like them a little bit more now, but like they were not a go-to for me in my childhood. So when this movie came out, and I didn't even watch it when it came out. I discovered it later, right? And I was like, oh, he kind of looks like Conan from the comic. That's kind of neat, and it's got like a strong fantasy element to it. And he's supposed to be a younger Conan, so I'm like less phased. And also, action movies, as you know, I have. My bar is very low for action because they're all inconsistent and kind of terrible, and that's why I couldn't enjoy. That's why John Wick, for example, I enjoyed it less and less as the story continued, right? Because it kept having to jump bigger sharks, and really, after you jump the second shark, I'm out. The first shark, okay, we did it. Happy Days did it. I get it, but after the second shark, I'm like, oh my god, just do something different. That isn't ridiculous.
Phil, before we came on, you said something that I kind of agree with. Like it had like a generic feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like it was just like there was nothing like that could stick out in this movie. Just I felt very like a very generic fantasy movie. They didn't really strive to put anything.
Yes.
They did the bare minimum to make it fantasy.
It felt, I agree with you. It felt very much like what we were saying before with the Mario thing, where you got a boardroom and they're all making decisions together instead of letting a writer write, letting a director. It felt like they sat in the boardroom. Well, we got to have a monster at the end because we haven't had one. We have to have the bad guy do something ridiculous at the end because we don't have one. He's got to have some backstory where his mother dies or his father dies. So now he's, it felt very much cookie cutter. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To me, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a problem." When the logo zoomed in,
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a problem."
I thought the logo was pretty good too.
The logo.
It's like they cut out the logo right here from the poster, and they just put like zoom on the thing. I was like, no fire on it, no nothing, no extra. No,
it would have been better if the Conan name came up and then the sword went through it.
Like you can still do that in like Photoshop.
That would have worked.
My one big problem too was the ending. He got the mask, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look any stronger than he ever.
Well, he's trying to get his wife the whole time.
But I thought the mask was supposed to be. He put the blood in the mask. He got the blood from the virgin. He put it in there. He put the mask on, but it didn't make him any stronger.
Bare minimum, man.
Yeah, like I was like, he's supposed to be this big, powerful guy.
Well, and how about that mask too? If when you see it the first time in the prologue, it's just a mask that the guy puts on his face. And this one, the tendrils are moving. I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, because he completed the ritual, there's a supernatural element to it.
Right, but you should have seen that in the beginning too.
No, because we never saw a completed ritual in the beginning. We are told of it, right?
Yeah, but it should have at least been like this on his face then. In the beginning, it's all horns and everything sticking out. We know that it's been completed, right? And he's using it to its nth degree at the beginning of the movie. But at the end of the movie, it wraps around like a face hugger from Alien, which it explained that to me because we should have seen that at the beginning too. And how did you cut it off his face then?
It did wrap around like a face hugger from Alien. Like I thought about that when I watched it. Like, wow, that's an alien.
I thought that the thief guy that he goes to get, remember the guy he saves at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? El Shan or whatever. He should have been more in the movie than he was. It was like, let's introduce this great character that's going to be fun, and then not use him at all. And
just use him right at the end. They use him right at the end just to like use it.
Right. We need someone to open locks because Conan. We need someone to open locks. But when the guy's stuck in the cage, Conan just chops the lock off anyway. So why would you just do that going in?
But anyhow, I still don't think it's a great movie. I just did not recall hating it, and I thought it was worth a revisit. But damn. I'm glad we revisited it so I can see where your bar is.
I enjoyed the experience of watching
those sand people to me.
I like the sand fight.
I didn't understand them.
That might have been one of the best fights.
Them.
I didn't understand where they came from. He summoned them, but like, okay, so they come out of sand, right? And you're on the edge of the village. Leave the village. They can't come after you. They're not on sand anymore.
Okay.
Like, what are we
Putting
doing?
so much thought into it. Like, it's a fight scene. It's supposed to be fun and fantasy and adventure. He's got to save the girl. She keeps moving to the top. She stabs one of them with her knife. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, you're thinking way too hard about that. And again, I'm not saying that maybe we shouldn't, but I'm like, you know, like you're like looking to kill.
No, like I said, I'm watching it going, well, that doesn't make it. Why would you stay there? And oh my god, that fight scene with the guy is awful. Because
Which
the guy's
guy?
got this ridiculous like Swiss Army sword.
Oh, that was
What the
awful.
fuck was that?
Oh
What was
yeah.
that?
The Swiss Army sword. Jeez.
Come on with that.
Release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy this movie.
I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to like it, and I nitpick stuff. You guys know that. I will nitpick. Just what to me makes common sense. So if you set your own rules and you stick to them, I'm okay with that. If you break it, but you have a good reason for it, and it makes sense with everything else kind of flows from that, I'm okay with it. This just kind of made its rule in each scene. It almost didn't make sense. I did like the black guy though. The ship guy was good.
Yeah.
These boys. I don't know. To me, it wasn't dark and gritty enough. But that's just me.
I was gonna say classic Conan stories aren't all particularly dark and gritty. See, this is the thing. Your measure of Conan is 2 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and that should not be the measure of Conan alone.
Conan.
Did we ever
Come on.
explain how he got the scar on his arm too?
He's been on many adventures.
I mean, that's the
Many.
perfect time where you show that. You showed the scars on his hands when he's with his father. Show that one. I don't know why you don't show that. Like,
That was brutal too. The whole oof.
That was a great opener because
It was.
That was brutal.
now I'll tell you why. And maybe that's why I'm forgiving you the movie because I'm invested with the opening. It's a great setup for a story of revenge. You know,
Absolutely
Mhm.
makes total sense. But then he doesn't go revenge.
And the rest of
until
the movie
he runs into the
happened.
thief guy, who he just accidentally runs into the thief guy, and he's helping him. And then just so happens the guy who's after the thief guy is the guy whose nose he chopped off, and now he remembers and he's going on this.
That was
revenge
grimy
quest.
too. Oh, when he
Like-
stuck his finger in his nose thing. There was some parts I was like, oh, okay, that's real Conan. That's real Conan. I like that. That's good. Ugh. All right.
I'm sorry, Cliff. I know I
I mean, and I'm just fascinated because the areas you go to when you rip things asunder, and then the areas that you sometimes just are like, yeah, but I had a good time. And I'm like, all right.
I know.
And I'm not even saying about this fun movie. I'm just saying like from when we go from one area to another. Now I got to be like way more.
What do you guys think
And you can-
an
and
actual
you're welcome to
Conan
call me
fan
out,
would
that's fine.
feel about this movie? Like someone that does like read the Robert E. Howards and the the comics and stuff.
I think
Would
they're aligned more with Cliff.
they would probably like it a little bit more.
Yeah, they like it
Alright.
a little bit more. Like
You-
he's
and
right.
let's just-
I'm going off of the Schwarzenegger Conan. He's
Did
totally
any
right.
of you read Busiek's Conan? Because that was great.
I do read an
the
occasional
Barry
issue and it's
Windsor,
really good.
the
Yeah.
Barry Windsor Scott Conan's. from, like, the
Yes,
70s.
that was
yeah.
where he actually had to play detective a little bit.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
the thing is, when we meet Conan in that story, Conan's like, but I'm a thief, right? And like, but things keep happening. Conan's got, and we as the reader realize that Conan has to start playing detective. And Conan never has the thought, I have to start playing detective. Conan's like, I got to figure this shit out, right? But the whole time, Conan's self-identity is, I'm just a thief. Like, that's the whole reason I'm even here, you know? And it's just great. It's the one in the tower. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Phil?
I think so.
That's a
I
good
think so,
story.
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
Conan does get to be Conan, but we get to see a different side of him in that story. Anyhow, it's good. I enjoyed that we got Conan the pirate in this one too, you know.
Yeah.
But I like this concept that Conan is many things because he just lived that kind of wild life, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, the movie's not like excellent. Like I give the movie a 6, and but I give it credit for trying, and I like the characters. But Ronaldo's also right. There was more that I thought that could have been done with all the supporting cast.
I
yeah.
think the cast was great. I think visually there were some nice elements to it. It looked great.
Yeah.
I
Oh, like the
think
keep
plot
over the
is all
water,
over the place,
beautiful.
though. The plot is all over the place. That makes no sense half the time. That's my the acting's great, even though the story's ridiculous, and it looks great. It's just the writing's terrible.
Yeah, and Momoa and the director both agreed that it was one of the worst experiences ever in their filming career.
Is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Now,
Now they can't all be Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. All right.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you have not seen Puss in Boots, it really is very good. Very
Puss in
good.
Boots. Larry
The
Jackson
last-
says, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't good.
That's my review of it. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't good. You feel
Yeah.
sorry for Conan because he should have been represented so much better.
yeah,
And it's not even like Momoa did him really that bad. It's just
Yeah.
he wasn't that bad.
He
It's
wasn't
just kind
the
of
problem. He wasn't. the
he
problem.
wasn't the problem. It was
Look,
was
if
weird to
they
see
want
him-
to do Conan, if they want to do another Conan with him, I feel like now's the time.
But you gotta go all in.
Yeah, but
man.
get like a
Yeah.
get like a big.
This wasn't
team.
rated R, right? Was this
Yes,
rated
it
R?
was. Yeah,
It
was?
was.
it
Oh
was
my
rated R.
God, you
Well,
had
that's
a
right. I
rated.
forgot there's boobs.
That's like
You
a
got the nudity,
tame
yeah.
rated R right there. Man.
There's
Yeah.
boobs. That's all it
There's
takes to
boobs
make
in
it an R.
Ah, you wasted a rated R. Like, come on.
This world is made for routine.